people most recognize you or ask you about Top Chef?
I think that's how 90% of the conversations start, with people who have not personally met me. Moving back to Spokane, after all those years in San Diego and Mexico, I was looking at what was available in the city and what was not available. And so to open up a restaurant, I wanted it to be unique. And ceviche was something that I had a lot of education in and understanding, and had created beautiful dishes in my restaurant in Mexico. And I figured if the people in Tijuana loved my ceviche as an American in Mexico, then Americans would love my ceviche up here in the Pacific Northwest.
This is where I discovered ceviche. This changed my life.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd never had ceviche before?
I didn't even know what it was. And
have you ever left Spokane?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm here with Chad White. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background and your Spokane restaurants.
Yeah, so my name's Chad White. I'm the owner of Zona Blanca Ceviche Bar, Tide Lobster Bar, and TT's Old Iron Brewery and Barbecue. We're a local restaurant group here, providing some different unique food opportunities to people here in Spokane.
So how is everything going on right now with COVID and the restaurants closing and all that? Like, what's been the biggest impact on the business side that you've seen?
Well, one of our businesses is thriving, and the other three we've had to close. It's a difficult time, one, to navigate, because you have to look at what your costs are of doing business, and what the positives are, and kind of weigh those pros and cons out and go, should we continue to operate this way? Can we? And for three of the restaurants, we decided we just simply couldn't do it. But for TT's Old Iron Brewery and Barbecue, we've really had an opportunity there, because we're located in the South Valley, which is deep in the heart of a bunch of different communities. And there's not a lot of dining options out there. And barbecue really lends itself to a family style meal. So people are buying pounds and pounds and pounds of meat, and actually eating it over a couple of days.
Yeah.
So it's helping the community actually limit their contact with other people by shooting through. And we've had to really change our business model, going from 37 employees down to 3, but still operating at the same levels of business. So in some ways it's been very positive, in other ways it's been very painful.
So you guys have innovated in a lot of ways by pivoting to the takeout and more the bulk ordering. Is that something that's feasible across models, or what are some other things that you guys have done, and how have you come to those decisions?
Yeah, well, our business models are all counter service concepts, right? So we have the ability to quickly adapt to these new changes, whereas restaurants that used to be a dine-in restaurant, let's call it like a Churchill's or a Wild Sage, they have a much more difficult time trying to adapt to these situations, and our heart really goes out to those people. But I think that they've also, as being veterans in this industry, have been able to adapt. But for us, it was much easier. With TT's, we've kind of set up a system in which we take the order over the phone, we do the payment over the phone, we ask you what vehicle you're driving, what time you're going to come by, and we have the food ready at that time. And when one of our staff members sees the vehicle pull into our parking lot, then we run it out to them, right? And so it's allowed us to really become extremely efficient, in which we thought we were as efficient as we possibly could before we got here, which just goes to show that we're always learning something. But to your question, this is gonna help us adapt even better throughout our next few years of how we do things. If we decide to open another concept, it may be a carry-out only concept, or we may limit the amount of customer interaction, not because we want to distance ourselves from people, but this is a model that seems to be working very, very well. And there's a lot of families, especially in Spokane versus some of the larger metropolitan cities, where it's more of a working class that doesn't have families. People are looking for a quick meal to pick up on their way home that is healthy, and they know where it's coming from.
Yep. And you can get beer.
You can get beer. Well, yeah, and so we've, luckily this state and really across America have put in some different things to help businesses that otherwise wouldn't be allowed to be open. So a lot of the bars, they're actually able, if they, fill out their proper paperwork and get approved, they're actually able to deliver a full bottle of alcohol to your home, right? Rather than you having to go into a grocery store. So for us, we've now started providing beer delivery. So people can call in and order, and this could be 5 days in advance, it could be 20 minutes in advance, and we'll deliver beer right to their door.
Do you have a recurring setup? We can.
We could, yeah.
That'd be the
We'll make the
membership I
changes
want.
to make it happen.
What are some of the resources you've been able to use, some of the programs or specific things that you've seen to help bridge the gap with what's been going on?
Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of assistance yet, right? I think a lot of things that are coming down from the government are still getting figured out, right? So as business owners, we're like, what's coming? How are we going to, because we're looking at a lot of our staff that we've laid out for, we laid off over 50 people from our team. And our heart's going out for those people. And how do we continue to support them while they're not in work? Because what they're getting from the government from unemployment is very different than what they were earning when they were working for us.
So this is insanely dynamic right now. Everything's changing by the day. Like you said, news is changing by the day. There's programs coming through the grassworks, like Rick Clark. He'll be here later to tell us more about that. Tell us how Rick's program has affected you.
Well, Rick's program has actually been really helpful, and I think for a lot of restaurants locally. So the premise of his program is really to do an online fundraising over a period of time in the evening when people are all at home. He raises money through that program, and then that money is used to pay a restaurant at full price to produce food for homeless, and then they come and pick up those individually packaged meals and deliver them to different homeless organizations around town or people who are in need of food. What's great about it is that it's injecting income into a restaurant. And a lot of restaurants right now, like mine, we've gone from 37 employees at TT's down to only 3 paid staff. We're trying to find our way to get back to getting all of our staff on board. And programs like this really help get us there, because there's still a lot of uncertainty about what really is available coming down from the government with the CARE Act. We still don't know all the details, and as those things come along and we find out what we can and cannot do, then we'll be able to bring some of our staff back, because all of our staff are hurting. They're not making the money they were making before, and some of them are single moms, some of them are families of 4, and just like other people who are hurting in the city, our staff is really taking a big beating.
More with Rick after this. Check out Community Positive, a TV show dedicated to promoting positivity. Each week we highlight business owners and community leaders doing incredible things in the Spokane community.
Saturday and Sunday at 6 on Fox 28.